Oh, excuse me. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Nerd Tube. Time to talk about Star Wars, baby. We're back, and it's now Ahsoka time. A series based on Ahsoka Tano, the Clone Wars character that was introduced by Dave Filoni. Now we have her in live action. Initially, we saw her in the Mandalorian, and she is being played by the fantastic and well-deserved frontrunner for her own show in Rosario Dawson, who's been around for a while. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by this particular series. I would like to talk about it in more depth. We had two episodes, Master and Apprentice, as well as Toil and Trouble. Nice way to get us started. Both decently length episodes. The first one being almost an hour, and the second one being just under 45 minutes. Before we talk further into more depth. We're not doing a play-by-play, by the way, because this is too much to talk about. But I just like to ask my friends here what they thought of this series so far. I'll start off with you, Gaz.
There were really good bits, but most of all, but I kind of like the world building, but it's kind of like underwhelmed by some elements of it, to be honest. So it's kind of like middling at the moment to me, but I'm hoping it'll get better because it seems like there's a lot of like world building and kind of like tension building, but there's kind of stuff like I don't know if it needed to be there, kind of things. But there's enough good stuff that I'm hoping that it'll take a turn for the better as we get on, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Chio?
I mean, this was definitely a circle jerk from Filoni and Favreau. I mean, we knew what this was, so I'm not shitting on it. I'm not praising it. I mean, it is Rebels season 5 is what it is in live action. So, I mean, I didn't watch Rebels, and I've only seen limited amounts of Clone Wars, so for me, it's just more Jedi bullshit, but there is some good non-Jedi stuff, especially New Republic stuff peppered in here, which is the stuff that I'm enjoying. Um, I don't care about finding Ezra. I care about finding Thrawn. You know what I mean? Like they're all like, "Oh, for Ezra," and I know that's their purpose, but it's like, I'm like, yeah, let's get to Thrawn, please. Let's get to Thrawn. Um, Ray Stevenson, fantastic. Mwah. I knew he would make a good villain. R.I.P. him. I'm very sad that he, they'll probably, if he doesn't die in this first season of Ahsoka, he will they'll have to do something with him for next season. So yeah, but no, I mean, it was good. It looked good.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was I reasonably liked what was going on with what we were getting. I did feel like we were setting up a lot of things in the future. No Grand Admiral Thrawn so far. How many episodes are we getting of this?
8.
Okay, that's not too bad.
No, that's not too bad.
But
All I know is if we don't get Grand Admiral Thrawn by episode 4, I'm out. Like I don't want them to do the whole Grand Moff Tarkin thing where it's
I think we'll get him. I think
Gideon, Moff Gideon.
I think we'll get him and possibly Ezra Bridger. I might say Ezra Miller on a handful of times, so forgive me in advance. But we might get Ezra Bridger possibly by the end of episode 3 because we saw them in so far what we've seen so far that they were building this special hyperdrive that will take them to a part of the universe that is seriously far away, even this, in accordance to what these people do when it comes to traveling in space, and that's where they are, and they want to. Yeah, we've already seen Bridger. Yeah, we saw a hollow image of him, but I think we'll possibly see them come back. How are they still intertwined? I don't know, but nevertheless, it will be interesting to see them come back. And I do think by the end of episode 3, we'll see Thrawn. I'm really hoping, because that means we have 5 episodes of him. We need as much Thrawn as possible. We need to see him being this chess player of an admiral and outmaneuvering and outthinking his opponents. And I think that's fundamental to this series when it comes to having an antagonist, because so far the only antagonists we've seen are these sort of like evil Jedi's. And I don't even call them Sith. The evil Jedi's. if they're following their own sort of path, so to speak. They're kind of like, for hire Jedi's, I guess. So mercenaries, yeah, for sure. So, but it was nice. One of the things that I'm happy we kind of got out of the way very quickly was the MacGuffin of these first 2 episodes, which was that map. When we initially got into that room, I was getting vibes of Assassin's Creed with the Apple of Eden, and stuff. I
was getting Jedi Survivor, or not Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order vibes, where they're exploring the old Sith ruins and all. I mean, like, and don't get me wrong, I like Jedi Fallen Order. I've not played Survivor yet, but Jedi Fallen Order, I liked it. I mean, it's like Uncharted meets Star Wars. So
I was getting Fifth Element vibes as well in that.
No, that's because the Sith. I thought that exact same thing when you saw little pillars and they had like the waves on them and stuff. I'm like, hey, it's the elements from the Fifth Element.
And it felt like a computer game, having to turn these things to unlock a whatever. And then when the musical score started playing, I don't know who's created the score, but they are definitely channeling their John Williams without a doubt. You know what I mean? Because it almost felt very Indiana Jonesy, because she's in this sort of cave and she's looking for treasure or whatever she's looking for, and she figures out the puzzle. And we get this sort of Apple of Eden thing come out of the earth, and then very really quickly figure out that it's a map. And the resolution of that, I think, is already done. Like, this thing is not going to be like something they need to be chasing throughout the entire series. It's had its use. Its use is to find Grand Admiral Thrawn, and now we've got this giant sort of hyperspace machine in order to get to him or to bring him back, which I like, and I do feel they're going to be successful in doing that because he has to come back. So it's all hopefully set up, for some very cool shenanigans. And I do like the way that at the end of Mandalorian, during Mandalorian season 2, when we saw Ahsoka and she fought Morgan Elspeth. This is a continuation from that as well, So, but it will be interesting. But the thing I'm looking forward to most is to find out a little bit more about these 2 new, Jedi Sith type people.
I think they're the Gray Jedi. I think they're the Jedi that are.
I don't think they're Gray Jedi.
Huh?
I don't think they're Gray. I think Gray Jedi are still on the side of light more than dark. These people are very dark. You know what I mean? I mean, they kill without reason, especially the apprentice. My God, she's fucking nuts. You know what I mean? Like, she's like very quietly menacing, and she has no problem with killing people. I think Grey Jedi. I've always looked at people like Qui-Gon Jinn as a Grey Jedi. You know what I mean? And I think they have more. I even look at Ahsoka Tano as a Grey Jedi. You know what I mean? And I don't look at those people as somebody who would go out of their way just to kill random people to get a job done. Then they're too much on the light side for that, if you know what I mean.
So maybe Ahsoka is more of a light gray Jedi, and they're more of a dark gray Jedi.
I think they're a whole different branch. I think they're people who use their Force powers and they're not following the Sith code, but they're more
mercenaries.
Yeah, they're more on the dark side of the Force, but they're not following this code of the Sith.
Dark, which is why Jedi. Listen, man. That's fine. Let's move on.
Okay, well, there's a couple of comments here. The maps use is to find Purrgil breeding grounds. Purrgil?
They're the space wolves.
The portal.
We saw them in
Rebels.
Season 3.
Okay, I do remember that episode though, where Bridger and Thrawn, they get sent into the outer regions. So the portal and Purrgil around it, and we saw one in the cloud as they came to the planet. Oh, fair enough. They might be Skywalkers, which the Chiss used to. Skywalkers, as in some sort of device, which the Chiss used to navigate through subspace without computers. Okay.
But I mean, the intro to episode 1 was fantastic. The whole shit going in, and then like the captain coming to meet them, and then like Ray Stevenson going, I'm not I'm not a Jedi, and then just slices him whole with the sword, and then basically just like slices the way through it. And it's just like, God damn! It's like if the rest of the series is out, like this is going to be really good. And it's like, I mean, that was tremendous. I mean, I love the fact that they set her free, so like she's there to help them.
She never spoke, by the way. I noticed that Apprentice. You never heard her speak until episode 2. She didn't say a fucking word.
No, she did. She said.
No,
she
not
said,
in
the Apprentice.
episode 1.
Yeah, she did. She said.
Oh, really? Okay, I must have missed that.
She said why? Because when she sent her to the planet with, what's her face on it? The purple hair. I don't remember her name.
The
Mandalorian. The Mandaloria.
Sabine Wray.
Sabine Wray.
When they sent her to the planet with Sabine on it, she was asking why, whatever planet, and yeah, she asked a question. I mean, she didn't say much. You're right, but she talked.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, it just eluded me. Fair enough. But in the first episode, what also made me realize as well is that Sabine Wren would possibly be the second Mandalorian Jedi before Grogu, because everyone looked at Grogu, but we heard the story of this Mandalorian Jedi who created the Darksaber. But the reality is, if Sabine Wren completed her training, she would have been the second Mandalorian Jedi, not Grogu. Grogu would have been the third.
Mm-hmm. But here's my other thing that irritated me with this episode. Speaking of Sabine,
I was going to get to her as well.
What?
I was going to get to her as well. Sorry, go to you.
The trope of where it's like Ahsoka brings this thing for her to look at, and then she takes it, even though Ahsoka said not to take it, just to be a rebel. And then look, she lost it because she did the irresponsible thing. It's like, it was very cliched, and I knew it was going to happen as soon as she said no, leave it here. I'm like, okay, so she's going to take it, she's going to figure it out, she's going to lose it to the bad guys, and then I wasn't sure if she was going to die or not, but I was pretty sure that it was going to come back and bite her in the ass. And it's just like this. It's just so cliched, and it's just like, I don't know. It's like a teenager,
right?
Yeah.
But my problem with Sabine is that she's a flaming Joshi character.
She's a what?
A Joshi character.
A Joshi? I don't know what that means.
Right, Japanese anime. So basically, she's like one of these people, like from like Akira or something like that, where she's doing these cool moves where she's going underneath cars and she's posing really coolly with really weird hair and she's really cool, but she's too cool for school and all this shit. It's like, fuck off with this shit. Sorry, I can't.
But she is a Mandalorian. I mean, she's
badass. Mandalorians have a code. She doesn't have a code.
No, but I mean, it's not about the code. I'm talking about her abilities to be badass.
No problem with
being a Mandalorian.
I've got no problem with
she's able to do things like with the speeder and stuff like that. She has a particular set of skills. Yeah,
it's the attitude that pisses me off. It's the whole like, I'm too cool for school. Like it's like total Joshy fucking shit. And I hate that sort of character. It pisses me off.
Did you ever see her in Rebels?
No, I didn't really watch Rebels. But
as I said, I haven't seen Rebels, so I can't. I can only say what I've seen in this episode, and as I said, that's why that trope annoys me. I didn't care that much for the. I mean, it was fine, like the whole badass, flying under the ship, and I mean, but I knew that was going to happen when she sat down. I'm like, okay, she's going to get around him somehow, like. It's like Captain America on the bridge in the Winter Soldier. Like you knew he was going to, escape. So, again, kind of trope.
Yeah, well, look, the thing that bothered me the most wasn't any of that. Was the fact that Clancy Brown, by the way, who played a second role now in Star Wars, but he played the Devalorian in season 1 of Mandalorian. So now he's playing a totally different character here. He's playing a human now, but he wanted Sabine back, and he got his guys who tried to stop her. But all she did was go home. They could have just gone to her fucking house, grabbed her, and made her go back to the goddamn ceremony. So that was the thing that was bothering me. They just let her go home.
No, what we're
so,
saying is that there's not enough white male protagonists in this show.
No.
That's what Zam is saying, everybody, and I agree. We down with strong female lead.
Look. I'm not the one getting all political here. Now I don't know what you're doing with all this. It's just, can we, like,
No. I'm just saying that. I mean, I thought she redeemed herself in the second episode. I thought she was a much more rounded character than just the one note thing that she got in the first episode.
It only took her getting stabbed with a lightsaber for her to learn her lesson.
I know exactly. It's like she became much more of a three-dimensional character. It's like she's not just this angsty, flaming, rebel without a cause bitch that she was portrayed as in the first one. Yoshi bitch that she's like. It's like suddenly, like, whoever's writing this show decided to write a three-dimensional character. It's like, why couldn't she have been that in the first episode?
Also, Daniel Grant says Sabine wielded the dark saber, so that was probably something that happened in Rebels. So she's obviously familiar, and I mean, her lightsaber fight was not terrible. I mean, she did okay against the Padawan. I mean, she lost.
That was an amazing fight.
I wouldn't call it amazing, but I mean, they did all right. But you notice she didn't really use the Force at all. So obviously she does not know how to really use the Force. So
I think they mentioned when the elf-looking robot thing. Mentioned the fact that she kind of started upon a Jedi training, but kind of didn't finish. So maybe like she hasn't got to that part of Force sensitivity yet.
Sure.
Well, look, one of the other main sort of characters in this, as you call it, Rebel Season 5, is Mary Elizabeth Winstead playing Hera Syndulla. And she looks really cool, man, as this sort of like, sort of pilot looking person. You tell with a leather jacket and the sort of like, the sort of sheepskin around it and stuff like that, which you see in sort of like flight jackets. Too. Yeah, she's a general as well. And I will be interested to see how her role expands in the future of this particular show.
I can't remember. Is she a Twi'lek or is Ahsoka a Twi'lek? I can't remember which.
She's a Twi'lek.
Hera's a Twi'lek. Yeah, like I know that the Twi'leks have the tentacles on their heads somewhere. I just couldn't remember if it was Ahsoka or if it was.
I'm not sure what race Ahsoka is. She's another race.
Yeah, because if you see the deleted scenes of Revenge of the Sith, there's an alien just like Ahsoka who gets stabbed. A lot of people thought that was Ahsoka initially, but it wasn't. But it's the same species, and she gets stabbed. David Tennant is playing the droid Hu Yang, the one who teaches kids about the Force and all of that. The sort of like
I saw his name, but I wasn't sure who he was playing.
Yeah, he's playing that particular droid. And we also got the other droid as well, the astrometric droid, Chopper, who's a bit sassy. Chopper, who's a bit sassy and stuff like that. So yeah, the gang's pretty much back. Kane is dead. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay,
so I haven't watched it. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they haven't really mentioned him at all. So I'm pretty sure he's dead. I know he got blinded in Rebels.
We saw like in that city that looks like Cloud City. We did see that portrait of the Rebels cast, and we saw that big purple dude. He was in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, Jeb.
Jeb.
Or Zeb. Sorry, Zeb.
Oh, Zeb. Yeah. So like I said, unfortunately, I never really got into Rebels too much. I just everything about some of these spin-off shows kind of always makes me annoyed with what Yoda said to Luke when he said that he was the last of the Jedi, because then we realized, there's a whole fucking bunch of them. There's Carl Kestis. There's Carl Kestis as well. People forget about him.
I think he
from
should
the
show
Jedi
up
Order games.
in one of these shows. I want like I want Cal Kestis to show up.
Yeah, I mean,
Big
there is,
crossover episode with live action Cal Kestis.
Kanan did die. Yeah,
there,
so Kanan
there is,
died.
well, it's certain lore, and I think it is part of canon, is that there is a secret sort of like non kind of like lightsaber wielding members of the Jedi Order around, but they're kind of hidden. I can't remember what exactly called. You find them in Jedi Fallen Order, I believe. I can't remember what they're called, like the sisters or something or other. I can't remember what
The sis, the blue people.
No, the sisters or something. I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, the sisters of Dathomir.
The way like robes and shit.
Yeah, the witches.
but they're not.
Yeah, the sisters of Dathomir.
They're not.
That's what Morgan Elspeth is.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're force sensitive.
No, they are force users, but they use the force differently. They do witchcraft. And that's how they're able to. So that's why people like Morgan Elspeth was able to have a decent fight with Ahsoka Tano in season 2 of The Mandalorian. Because there's more to her than meets the eye. She's a witch, and she has power, which is also why these particular Jedi's, or these dark Jedi's, however you want to call them, Balin and the other and his apprentice, they kind of show a lot of respect to her. They almost let her be in charge, so to speak. And she obviously has a debt towards Grand Admiral Thrawn, which is why she wants him back. So, and it's gonna be interesting to see how Thrawn shows himself to be an adversary in any capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that with a lot of these sort of planets, they love doing this sort of Stonehenge shit, and we got that in episode. We got that too. Like they copy Stonehenge to a T with all those fucking rocks and stuff. But it became some sort of glorified map, room and stuff like that.
I mean, they're doing the whole map thing again. I mean, which map is it? Is it the map that leads to Yoda? The map that leads to Obi-Wan? The map that leads to Luke Skywalker? The map that leads to
Palpatine.
What was the Sith planet in Rise?
Yeah,
of
Palpatine.
Exegol.
Yeah, Exegol. Yeah, like how many maps? I mean, I get it. There's maps all over the galaxy, but I'm like, come on, how many times are we going to use this trope?
Yeah, it's a proper Star Wars trope. The sisters originally come from the unknown regions where the map leads, same place the Chiss come from. Yeah,
but keep in mind the map in this episode, like it's saying that Thrawn is in another galaxy. Like the unknown regions are still within the galaxy of the Star Wars main galaxy, but the map was pointing towards another galaxy outside of the Star Wars galaxy. Mm-hmm. So that's billions and billions of light years away. So I mean, and obviously they have some gate that leads them there. So there is a like MacGuffin to get them there, which is this gate thing. But still, it's like, now it's not even just the unknown regions.
There was another Sith sort of character, and this guy was carrying a red lightsaber. He looked like an Inquisitor. Mm-hmm. Ahsoka Tano fought this guy.
I have a theory on who that is.
Too. A lot of people say it's Ezra Bridger.
Oh, okay. Well, then everybody's saying what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think it's Ezra. I really do.
Yeah.
Just the way he was, like his build and everything like that, like kind of looked young and fit and slender. I'm like, I feel like that's gonna be Ezra.
You don't think it's an Inquisitor that survived?
No, I mean, it's possible they could be that generic, but I mean,
just the blade was very Inquisitor-like, with the handle and everything. We'll see. I mean, sometimes people make more like sometimes this guy could just be like a plain Jane, red lightsaber Inquisitor who's faceless, and maybe there's nothing to him, or there could be something to him. It could be interesting to see.
My theory is that if it wasn't revealed by the end of the episode, or the person wasn't killed faceless by the end of the episode, it's going to be Ezra. I just feel like it was. I don't know.
My issue is, if that is Ezra, then how the fuck did he get back?
Who knows?
Maybe he was turned to the bad side by Thrawn. I don't know. By what
Yeah,
he did.
no. How the fuck did he get back? Because that needs to be answered as well. How did he get back, and Thrawn didn't?
Maybe Thrawn didn't want to come back. Maybe Thrawn's bringing. Maybe Thrawn's
No, but
bringing his forces with
how
him.
the fuck did he get? How the fuck did he get back? That's the question that still needs to be answered. Of all, regardless of what people's intentions were, how the fuck did he get back?
Then
You know what I mean?
guess we'll just have to watch the show and find out.
Yeah, I guess so. Because at this moment in time, getting back is so difficult that they have to create this fucking special hyperdrive bullshit in space, which requires all these different parts and stuff.
Well,
just to get Thrawn back.
I actually think Daniel might have answered the question. The world between worlds, which I do remember mentioning in Rebels, is
I saw that, the world between worlds.
So that might have been the way that I don't know if only Jedi. Oh, he says only Force users can use it. So maybe that is how he got back, because Thrawn is not a Force user. So maybe Ezra used the world between worlds to get back, and Thrawn was stuck out there because, or whatever, or Thrawn captured Ezra while they were out there. Then Thrawn forced Ezra to use the world between worlds to go back and basically tell people, hey, however he brainwashed Ezra, basically Ezra then telling them, hey, we have to get Thrawn back. This is how we get him. You know what I mean? Because if Thrawn can't go through the world between worlds, he'd have to use some kind of communication to get that. And that would be Ahsoka. Ezra.
Ahsoka's only alive because Ezra pulled her through a portal in the path where she died to Vader. I'm so not a fan of two things in Star Wars: parallel universes and time travel in any capacity. I'm fine with them being able. I'm fine with them being able to sense the future because it's a part of their mystique. But to actually time travel, no.
The person doesn't time travel. The vehicle time travels.
Yeah, but it's still a sense of time travel. It's still a time travel MacGuffin in any capacity. Time travel is, however you want to call it, dude. You know what I mean? It's still time traveling and it's involved in Star Wars, and I don't like it. I've never been I've never been a fan of that.
Okay, well, I mean, Daniel Vance makes a good point: is that you're in a world where faster than light exists. Time travel is in front of you already, which is true. Faster than light travel.
Yeah, look, I know what you mean. It just some things. Look, I'm fine with it in other things, but when a particular show has been going on for so long and it's kind of established its rules to a degree, adding additional things like time travel just cheapens the deal for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You prefer your Star Wars dumbed down. I get it. I mean, I'm right there with you. Star Wars can be dumbed down.
No, look, I think there's Star
Trek can be smart. It's okay. I get it.
You're doing me a disservice.
I'm not doing you a disservice. I'm doing Star Wars a disservice because it's pew 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 whoosh beep boop whoosh.
Look, it's sword and sorcery in space. People call it a Western in space. I think it's more sword and sorcery in space.
And they're not very complicated. So I understand you don't want your Star Wars very complicated. I understand that. I'm not debating that fact.
Yeah, but this is more mystical and stuff like that. I know you could then also throw in the time travel element too in that as well, but I don't know. It just it's like having Force users in fucking Star Trek. I mean, that would be just as fucked, wouldn't it?
Well, and that's why I always consider Star Wars more of a science fantasy or a fantasy fiction, not a science fiction. I usually never refer to Star Wars as anything other than fantasy or fantasy fiction, just because it's not science fiction. It is like science fiction to me is something that is grounded in some way in reality, like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Even Aliens, there are humans in Aliens. It's in the future, so it's a possibility for the human race. But like Star Wars is more like fantasy fiction. You know, it's
and
just
it's in the past as well, by the way.
well, I mean, yeah, but it's futuristic technology for us. So, but that's what I mean. Fantasy fiction. It's a fantasy. You're right. It's
Yeah.
swords and whatever in space.
You got laser swords and the sabers and stuff, and you got wizards and witches, which has been proven now. Sorcery and stuff like that. And the funny thing is, as well, is that this thing called the Force, it doesn't discriminate. Like any alien being can have it, so it unites all alien races from all parts of the galaxy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, come on, you're quoting four or something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and the thing is that there's nothing.
look, I mean, there's enough mysticism in Star Wars because these motherfuckers,
It's space magic.
like the
It's the
Jedi.
Force.
The Jedi, like they can live eternal life by after they die. I mean, they become space ghosts, and they go coast to coast. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just
Dude, I love that show so much. Space Coast Coast to Coast.
regardless. For me, focusing on these evil Jedi's, I think this is where the story is going to be going. It's going to be going its best place. I did like some of like Ahsoka's mannerisms and a character. She's definitely quite wise, and she's not this sky guy eccentric character that she was portrayed as earlier on in the Clone Wars and stuff like that. She's seasoned. She's kind of like she's been through a lot of shit, and it's wedded her as well. I mean, she's not young anymore. She's in her 40s. I don't know if that will still be considered young in her alien race or considered old in her alien race. Who knows? But she can still kick ass.
Yeah, but I mean, she's a Jedi as well, and that prolongs your life as well. So like,
Yeah.
I thought number 2 was pretty decent. I thought it ended on like kind of like an aspect of hope. I mean, I kind of wish we did get like a little bit of Thrawn here, but I'm kind of like glad we didn't, because I'd rather that he gets into the next episode if he's going to turn up.
A good comment here. I think we'll see the invasion of the Yuzon Vong. They create fields that nullify the Force. That might be how Bridger was assimilated. I'll tell you what. I would love to see the Yuzon Vong post Rise of Skywalker. That's where I want to see them. Because I did hear that they are going to make. Excuse me. They are going to make some. They're going to be doing some stuff with Daisy Ridley, making her a Jedi Master and recreating the Jedi Order and all of that. So that would be pretty cool if they could maybe bring in the Yuzon Vong there and maybe do a solid for Finn as well, make him a Jedi Knight. All of these sort of things. I mean, he was treated so poorly, in the in the sequel trilogy. So yeah. All right. So what else is we could talk about regarding these episodes? I mean, Sabine Wren herself. I mean, she was trained to be a Jedi, but she's not Force sensitive.
No.
So, I mean, can you be a Jedi and not be Force sensitive?
Yes.
Doesn't that limit your abilities as a Jedi big time and makes you vulnerable?
Yes, but I think the thing is that I think there have been other like, high level just users of the saber who haven't been Force sensitive. Like I think there's like been a couple like in the Phantom Menace. I think there's about like 3 or 4 that stands out. There's just been like really good swordsmen, but like they weren't really Force sensitive in the way that like say Yoda was or like Windu was.
Did you pick up on the Easter eggs?
Mm-hmm.
We got in the show, for instance, they mentioned the older code, something that we hear in Return of the Jedi, and when Balin's apprentice, whose name I haven't figured out yet, when she goes looking for Sabine Wren, it kind of reminds you of Darth Maul looking for the Jedi in Phantom Menace. Those similar scenes. he had the probe droid out, and she had the probe droid. No one picking up on that.
I mean, yeah, I caught those vibes when they were doing it, but I mean,
Was that Admiral
Star Wars
Akbar?
doing Star Wars things.
We saw like a Mon Calamari officer. Was that Admiral Akbar?
No, Admiral, no. Mm-mm.
This is before Last Jedi, so he would still be alive.
Yeah, but he was an admiral in Return of the Jedi, so why would he be a foot soldier?
Well, no, I was wondering. I just didn't realize. I couldn't tell. But he only mentioned.
Are you
only
saying
had
that
Mon
all Mon
Calamari
Calamari look alike? Come on,
and
Dan.
sound alike, as well. You know, so yeah.
No, I think it was just that's the thing, though. It's like, I mean, you've got a universe, kind of the Ginger argument of you got this universe of aliens, and yeah, you get Mon Calamari in this regimen, but then you got only, and then the rest are human, and then you see mostly humans. I probably only saw a couple aliens within the ranks of. I mean, I'd have to go back and look. I didn't look too closely to see all the races, but.
Okay, fair enough. So basically we'll cut it from here because there's only so much we can go on. I mean, we got some decent characters and we got some nice, interesting moments, but I think the meat of it now is going to begin with this next episode and hopefully the return of Admiral Thrawn finally. I didn't understand the HK droids. I called them hunter killers, by the way, from Terminator. HK droids blowing up the ruins. The ruins were needed as a key to the map, unless Elsbeth knew the map was useless. Well, I think once they realized the key was obtained, then nothing else mattered. So, yeah. And those droids, they gave up pretty easily, didn't they? Yeah, but nevertheless, fair enough. But yeah, some of the action was pretty good. It is nice. I know you're not the biggest fan of Jedi, but to a degree, it is nice finally maybe to get some sort of Jedi series after having, Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian for a few years. This is a breath of fresh air going in a different direction with some familiar characters as well. So the universe of Star Wars is starting to open up a little bit. It is a shame that we are going to end up getting into the sequel trilogy at some particular point. I'm not looking forward to that. I do hope to see Luke Skywalker at some point in all of this, because he is the equalizer. If there are rogue Jedi going around killing people, mercenary Jedi, you would think Luke Skywalker would want to put stop to that. No,
just like Nick Fury said, he said, we can't keep relying on the superheroes to pull us out of the fire. So Ahsoka's going to have to figure it out on her own.
Fair enough. All right. So I think it's time. You guys got anything more to add?
Nope.
No. The only thing I would say is that I agree with what Cheeto said. We should get Thrawn, if not the next episode, then the episode after that. Otherwise, it's
my only issue is, though, Gary, is that something like the return of Thrawn is something that you would put at the end of an episode. You wouldn't bring him in the middle. I can see like him. He would be the vice to watch the next episode. So in episode 3, I think it's fundamental that we see him by the end of episode 3, so that we get 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, if he shows up like Moff Tarkin, or not Moff Tarkin, I keep on Moff Gideon, like in season 1 of Mandalorian, like, because I mean, Moff Gideon didn't show up until the end of season. If we don't get Grand Admiral Thrawn until the end of this season, I'm going to be pissed, like royally. You okay, Zam? No, his internet died.
Okay. So I'll give my scores as we're going to the end now anyway. So for episode 1, I'll give it a solid 7. For episode 2, I'll give it a solid 8.
I'm just going to give both of them a solid 6. I thought that they were, as I said, I don't know these characters. I'm going to give it a fair ranking, like maybe 6, 7. I can't honestly. I don't know, but somewhere in between there. As I said, I know Thrawn, so I mean, Thrawn's a
Why the fuck is my name Fabulous Dick Bottom?
I have no idea. I didn't change it.
I didn't change it.
All right, continue, because I knew Melon was doing his Melon sing.
Well, I mean, we were still talking, and then you must have come back in, and then something happened, and all of us brought it. Both me and Gary both gave it. I think you gave it what, a 7 and an 8, and I gave it like 6s, just because, whatever.
I gave this episode a 7. I'm being generous, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for it. I do think it's got I think things will improve. I do like the characters, and I like the aesthetic and stuff. That you can see there's a budget in this. You really can see it. Like, they spent some fucking money on this, and I very much appreciate that as well. So it's been a year, by the way. I mean, Andor like a year ago. Can you believe it? It's crazy. So it's been a year since we got some Star Wars content, and I'm very happy. Like, I'm not fickle.
Mandalorian season 3 was not that long ago.
Oh yeah. No, Mandalorian season 3 was before Andor, wasn't it?
I
think it came out in the beginning of the year, like it came out March or something.
Yeah, but you said
last
a year
year
since we've had Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, and I think Andor came out like August, September.
Because Andor finished. Well, yeah, last year.
I'm looking. I'm going back. Mandalorian was back in. The last episode of Mandalorian aired on April 19th.
Yeah, so I was right. It started in March.
So 4 months ago. But since we've had Star Wars content.
This year?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was this
year. No way. Okay, fair enough. Numbers came out on Willow. Disney spent more per episode than Game of Thrones did. Insane. Well, the thing is, Daniel, you saw Secret Invasion? Apparently they spent like billions and trillions per episode on that bullshit as well. I think they spent like quarter of a billion on Secret Invasion, like 250 million they spent on those episodes. Where? I don't see it. It was like 150 million to pay off fucking Samuel L. Jackson, because honestly, I'll be like looking for Samuel L. Jackson's mum, and I'll be saying, "I'm sorry, Miss Jackson, this ain't for real, because we can't be paying this fucking much for this guy, regardless of him being a cornerstone of the MCU, because we need the budget to go elsewhere, like a better looking show." But nevertheless, Disney spending is crazy. I'll give you that. Willow was shit. Willow was really shit.
Vance, is Invasion any good? Because I've heard mixed things about it.
Secret Invasion is bullshit.
No. Not Invasion. Invasion's like an Apple series about an alien invasion story, basically.
I don't know, but I'll tell you what I am watching on Disney. Is The Bear.
Well, the cooking show.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. The Bear is pretty good. I recommend The Bear.
Are you trying to say Rot, Dad fans? Babylon 5. I've not seen. Is that the cartoon? Sorry, guys. I'm just trying.
What are we doing?
I was just asking if Daniel Vance's Babylon 5: The Road Home was the animated show.
Daniel's American accent, it was horrendous.
Yeah, he can't really do. I mean, he does okay in other stuff, but he doesn't do too well then.
Was it the same American accent he had when he played Damien Thorne in Omen 3?
It's the same American accent he did when he did the thing from Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, was he playing an American there as well? Well, he played an Irishman in Peaky Blinders, a Northern Irishman, to be more precise. But yeah, he seemed okay. You know, I mean, then again, I'm not an American, so he seemed authentic to me. Babylon 5 Road Home was animated. It was so damn good. Oh, fair enough.
On my gaming channel, I'm going to be playing Birth of the Federation, the Babylon 5 mod in the near future.
Also, yes. So Vance, will you be joining us in 2 days' time for Debatamania?
That's right. Show up in the chat. You get to vote. Vote for the winners.
By the way, I am trying to pimp that out so in other places that I'm in, like in Discord chats I'm in.
Yeah, pimp it out, dude.
I know that I'm going to lose really hard because I know a lot of people don't agree with me. So
absolutely, he says. Okay, well, look, I think we're done here, fellas.
Yep.
So
I'm super.
Fine. So we'll be back tomorrow talking on the Highly Illogical podcast regarding the First Contact timeline in Star Trek. You know, after our TNG boys went back in time to show Zephyr Cochrane the way and to stop the Borg from destroying that timeline, has their interference in the past made a difference to the future? Is some of the stuff we see in Star Trek now, like Strange New Worlds and First Contact, you know, the after effect of the First Contact timeline? We'll discuss all of that with Cheeto leading the charge tomorrow at what time?
Same time, 6:30.
6:30 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
And 11:30 p.m. UK.
Hopefully we'll have some special guests on there. I'm not 100% sure who's going to be on there, but basically any of our Trekkie friends who show up, I mean, we'll you know, hopefully. I know Mage is going to be back tomorrow. He was off last week, but he's going to be back next tomorrow. So we can't wait to talk about that, the First Contact timeline. You know, Vince says, I can't wait to see who has the right First Contact theory. Well, you have to bring your First Contact theory and let us know what yours is. So tomorrow when we
And on Friday, we'll be doing the World Gone Insane. We'll be talking about various things, as well as Lucy Letby, who the British media are shocked that a blonde, blue-eyed white woman killed 7 or 8 babies in a hospital, because they're saying that somebody who looks like her, they can't imagine her doing something like that. Well, that's just plain out, you know, I don't want to just say racism, but the mindset of certain people thinking that somebody who looks like her is not capable of committing horrendous crimes kind of shows you what people think people who do commit crimes like that are supposed to look like. And apparently it's not supposed to be her. But nevertheless, we're going to be talking about her as well as various other things as well. Gamescom as well. There's a guy who ran on stage at Gamescom. You know, these motherfuckers running on stage now is really stupid. Goes all the way back to Bret Hart in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, we're going to talk about all of these sort of things. So yeah, that'll be this Friday. So keep an eye out for that as well. Great. All right. Thank you very much, Cheeto and Gaz, for joining me, the fabulous Dick Bottom. Yeah, I know. I do this so often now that my voice is just... time to get that shit checked. It's been more... Well, I'm just recovering from a cough. Yeah, so...
And Zam just likes the sound of his own voice. So, I mean, he just keeps on going. So, I mean, you know.
Yeah. He gives me so much shit. You know, and people look at me. People think I'm the bad guy. I'm not. You know, I remember that one guy who used to comment about how horrible you were to me. Remember him? I forgot who he was. But yeah. Yeah, wait, oh, by the way, look who it is. It's fucking Dixie. He was supposed to join us. No, sorry, he's not here, is he? My bad. I do apologize. I'm misreading my chats. I'm all over the fucking place. But nevertheless, I'm going to go now because I'm fucking burying myself a hole. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. And I'll try to be back with a better voice. Take care. Bye-bye. Live long and prosper.